family, Carl and Denny wanted me to welcome you.
It's not Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. It's not Sunday. It's also not Friday night, so we're good. And you can all relax. The Mariners are winning 9-3. Take a few minutes and celebrate an amazing life. And so, on behalf of Carl and Denny, and Molly and Sean and Tyler and Lori and Suzanne and Mark and Jen, we want to welcome you and thank you. Needless to say, by the size of the room and the place, this exceeded our wildest expectations and definitely speaks of the love that you had for Kyle and the love that you have for this family, and know that we have that same for you. So thank you for being here. And Tyler is going to say a few words about his brother Kyle.
All right. Wow. I was going to say a lot more, but there's a lot of you standing, so I will make this shorter. It is hard to be here. And honestly, it sucks. And let's just acknowledge that. There is never enough of good people in our lives, and they always seem to run out before we run out of need for them. And so, even worse when you don't get to be close. My military career didn't let me choose a lot of things, and except for 2.5 really wonderful years that I spent at Fairchild, I didn't get to be near him after he graduated high school. But I did get to see him whenever I came home for summers or whatever excuse I could come up with. And that's where you all come in. We'll get to that. In that situation, when somebody passes, you find that the pain of not being there in that final moment is one of the hardest burdens that you can try and carry. You feel like you should have been there. You should have done something else that you didn't do. And that sucks. I know a lot of us carry that burden. And we shouldn't. You don't know when something's going to happen. You don't know how much time you've got. The trick is to make the most of the time you have. And the presence at the end of life isn't the big deal. It's the life shared before that. And all of us have shared a lot. And I think this is about done being serious. So we're going to talk about Kyle. And let's be honest, this was supposed to be a best man speech. This speech was supposed to be way down. So, I pardon the tone, but this is what I had prepared for. And so that's what you're going to get. My mom has asked me to eliminate some things, kind of restrict some content as I discuss my relationship with my womb mate. I will begin by asserting that he and I are the only two who can distinctly and legally say which of us is actually older. Just say. Don't think about that too hard. I did promise. But he was your favorite. And we did start the battle for space early, but it ended with me being moved down to the basement in the 7th grade from my own room, and I think we kind of established who the favorite was at that point. All I really wanted is for him to share that thick, beautiful hair of his, and just wouldn't sew up. Anyways, I have been told that there are some things I can't say, so one of them is I cannot talk about stories that involve swearing, which Kyle would say was brilliant guidance for him and his students and everyone. So I won't tell you about how we learned not to swear in our family and decided that that was wrong when Russell in kindergarten called Kyle a dumb shit. Wait, is anyone too young in here? Okay, and of course, Russell, who clearly had a lot more years fighting than Kyle or I had, that was clear, brought our mom into it instead. Mom, we don't call people dumb in our family, do we? say. There will be no stories with gratuitous nudity. But for context, we were 5, and no one expected the fire station Santa truck to come by at bath time. And a foot of snow on the ground probably should have kept us indoors, but they were throwing out candy. Now, we're not going to talk about that story, but something like that might have happened. There will be no stories involving animal cruelty. You know Kyle loved pets. He had so many dogs and cats, even Precious, who did not live up to her name. He couldn't say no. Now, I do have to apologize on behalf of Suki, who couldn't be here today. But I will say that Paul lived over 20 years, and that's an important distinction. So again, no stories about that. Ask me later. Let's see. Did we already skip that part? Oh, wow. No. There are going to be, oh yeah, no, there's a lot of stories. So anyway, here's some of the ones I'm not allowed to tell, so don't worry. We are not going to have stories about fighting or conflict. So some of those have to go now too. Kyle and I never fought. Okay, so this one time where someone grabbed the wrong milk in the lunch line or something, there was a push, and it was decided that this huge offense would be settled in the churchyard after school, as all grade school kids who went to Hamblin did, and appropriately so. And I did not come out on top in that fight, not even close. And I actually had a statement that I have to read because of that. I think it's down here. No. Wow, did I totally misplace that too? This is a good one. Okay, basically it goes like this. I hereby affirm and attest that Kyle Moore is stronger than me. He is number 1, and I am number 2. Number 2. He is the undefeated and undisputed champion, period, and statement. In our one and only fight in the 5th grade. Now, as we never fought, we won't talk about that. Or the time in 8th grade where somebody pushed my brother in the gym in front of me, and I jacked him into the stands. And he decided that we were going to have to fight at the water tower, which is where we settled our problem with Sacagawea. This property is all right across the street from school in view of the staff, but let's not talk about how smart kids are. Now, the gentleman who had been so fronted never showed up, but my brother did. And if you have a brother, sister, you know, you can fight with each other all day long, but you will never fight alone if it's you. And I know, looking around this room today, that as Kyle went through the ups and downs in his life and his struggle with alcohol, that he never fought alone. I'm grateful for all of you being in his life and for being there with him. I have another demeaning one I have to read later. But, we also won't talk about how I learned to fight back. The trick, if anyone's wondering, is wait till your sibling gets braces. And you are one slap away from victory every time. Okay, we won't talk about the number of times he and I both should have got a yellow or red card for bailing somebody in a soccer game after they did something inappropriate to the other on the field. Because we would not do that, and again, we're not going to talk about it. We're also not going to talk about malfeasance or deception. Now, my brother may not have been perfect, but he was not a good liar. In all honesty, I can tell you that as a twin, I typically knew when he was not doing well, because he just couldn't hide it, and I could see it. But when he was in high school, and younger, he still could. I remember the time that he decided he was going to sneak out and meet some friends at 3 a.m. for what we know. But he set his alarm. But then he woke up at 2:30 and left. But he didn't turn his alarm off. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about Kyle, whose grades did not allow him to get his driver's license until he was 17, 18. He didn't get it right away because you had to get this good student discount to drive in our family. And,
Tommy's trying to film you.
sorry. So, one day, Kyle, knowing how to drive and my parents not being there, decided to take the car to 7-Eleven and play some video games to get a big one. It was snowing.
It was snowing.
Now, how do you tell that a car's been taken out of a snowy driveway, but parked in the garage, the exact same place, with 4 inches of snow on the hood?
I learned from the best.
And so, what do you do with that? Or you're home, you're asleep in your bed, everything's cool in your basement hole where they shove you like Harry Potter, and your window opens at 2:30 a.m. and 150 pounds of twin brother drops on you, rolls off, walks out of your room like nothing happened. He did not do that with my sister. Because her room, you could just walk out as ground level. Now he snuck out and she's like, no. And he's like, see ya. So she shut the window and locked it. And when he came back knocking, she opened the laundry room window, which is not big enough to get back in through, but it is big enough to push a blanket out of. And we'll leave it at that. Now we're not going to talk about any other stories like that, but you can ask the Vickermans or Heidi Kirschbaum about the party that he threw as a sophomore year at our house when my parents were out of town, and all the neighbors were sitting in the front yard watching the comings and goings, trying to decide whether or not they needed to call the police. And thank you for resolving that in our favor, and that didn't work out. So, ask people, what do you say? What do you say on a day like this? What do you tell people? You guys all knew Kyle. What was he like? I asked folks, and they say the same thing. Kyle was loving. Kyle would give you anything if he had it, and if all he had was time, that's what you got, as much as you needed. He would give the shirt off his back if you liked it. I just wish he'd been my size. Kyle was a straight shooter. You always knew where you stood with him. He would tell you. And you never had to doubt if Kyle loved you because he told you. He told you how he treated you. He told you, he'd just say it straight to your face. And as much as anything else, I admire that about him. But I also have to mention that he had a bit of a sarcastic sense of humor. I don't know where he got it. I'm not going to repeat any of his jokes because that's another thing I'm not allowed to tell you here in this group. But they said Kyle was funny, Kyle was loving, Kyle was kind. And all of his students say he was the best teacher I ever had. And I think that's the last thing that I'll let go of is something that he and I had very much in common is we love to teach. We love to help people get better and be better at what they're doing. And when I see the lists of people responding to the news of his passing, I see all of these students who said, OMG, Mr. Moore, you were the best. You're the best I ever had. You made such a difference in my life. You were this, you were that. And it's that kind of thing that makes me so sad that he's gone. Because the world needs so much more of that. But I know to be grateful for what we had and thankful for the time we've had and for the impact he was on all of us. And I just want to thank you all for being here to share it now. Just reflect on that.